Hello AutoCAD users, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a look at our file working, adding hatches to our set of drawings that we are given in this file. You'll access the file lesson 5 AEC. Double click and it'll come up and we will go to our AutoCAD. And you should see something like this. This is the file that you will receive. The instructions for this particular project come from the file that I've loaded. You'll notice that there are many different layers that are already set, and I made a few new ones, mine in the lowercase. So what you're asked to do, we will read the instructions together. Let's get rid of this. Number one assignment is on the floor plan to the right. Look at the floor plan on the left, and you're going to use your tools Move, Copy, Array, Mirror, and Rotate to create the same kind of floor plan as you see here in the white. So that part is pretty easy, but what I wanted to point out to you today is we are going to introduce and talk about the hatches. And this would be a hatch, this is a hatch, and these are the hatches that appear in the new version that you are going to create. So let's take a look at the hatch making method. One thing we can do with hatches is we can, if we have a hatch already listed, as you can see here in the bathroom and the kitchen, well, what we can do is double click and up comes the hatch properties palette. The hatch properties palette, let's get rid of this, shows us the properties palette. On this side we can see the specifics, and if we want to use a larger template, we can see that we have access now to the entire hatch panel. And so check out what I've got. So in here we can do a pull out where it comes loaded with 50 hatches, 5 and 0. And what we're going to do is pick what we need for this, and AutoCAD, if you already have a hatch in there, it's going to allow you to kind of check out your options. Maybe you're a designer. Maybe you want to have something more than what's offered here. But the hatches are architectural. We have metals. We have what your assignment is asking for these architectural hatches. Brick, and especially we're going to be using the AR shake in the other assignment. And let's get rid of that. That looks a little complicated for our use. Okay, so if we need to do one of these, let's lower this. Okay, so it disappears over time. So if we wanted to just try different hatches, we could create that. We can double click, and this will bring up the hatch marker. Let's escape, make sure that we're clean. Okay, so this is where we'll make our adjustments, because this will tell you the size of that hatch. Were I to say, I'm going to make this hatch 2, that's what I would get. If I did 48, which might be another size, depending on the size of the tile that you're going to use in the bathroom. So if you did 48, you could have something like that. So I'll go back to my reset, which was 96, and that's what I want. If I want to change the angle of this particular hatch, I could come in here and I could say I would like this at 90. So these are your control modules when you get that hatch going. So what you'll do here is you could either delete this and do a new tool. First you could try and fix it. You can try and say, okay, well that looks like it's 45, because I can remember the last things I did. Well, it's at 25. Okay, so I got the angle, and then, but here's another interesting feature. Let's say I didn't have anything in there, or I had another kind of hatch. I could use this handy feature for hatches, and we have to get our hatch icon engaged to get that palette. We have a thing called up here the match properties. So if we select that and we touch something, we get the identical hatch that we're copying. Unfortunately, I have some kind of break here, so that's part of your assignment. Is remember, hatches are enclosed areas, and if there's any opening or somewhere where it can leak out, it fills up just like water. So I'm going to undo that. So that is your assignment for number 1, is to recreate this floor plan on this side. I already see some things that are pretty obvious. I'm going to delete this part. I'm going to change the bed orientation. I'm going to change the tile work. Part 2, along the same lines, is you're going to add hatches to this building. But this is where you're going to have to change. When we get to this, you're going to have to really kind of mess around with. The answer is it's going to be 1, but you could change the size of the particular hatch. Your particular model doesn't come with what I have here, and these are just to show you my match properties tool. But I'm going to look up a hatch. So if you were to start from scratch, you would look up AR, get those shingles for the roof, AR shake, click in there. I see that it's going to be way too much, and I can already hear my computer is taking off. It's so powerful. So I'm going to say 1 and enter. Okay, that looks more normal. Now I want to get it back on the ground, solid shape. And in fact, I might even go a little bit larger, 2 point, something like that. And then the next thing I want to do is find some siding or some brick. So let's go find some siding. Would be a generic, more of a generic, something like this, set straight. Oops, we'll make sure that we're not in this boundary. We want this boundary. So we're going to create a new one, and we're going to go get some brick, and we're going to adjust the size. Now this one is pretty small, so let's say maybe it's, try a few different numbers. 96, I'm going to have that. I'm going to do 48, and that looks good for this demonstration, so we're going to add that in. Make sure that you hit the spot that you need to have that hatch. And if anything goes wrong, be sure and check to make sure there's no opening, that you have a proper P-line edit. And this concludes a little demo on this hatch. It's more of a puzzle. Hope you have fun going through it. See you on the next video.